Hi, I'm Cadet Ali Poveromo from Carmel, Indiana.
And I'm Cadet Nick Risma from Westminster, Colorado, and we're here at the United States Air Force Academy.
And we'd like to say happy holidays from us at the Academy, and thank you to all those who have served before us.
Happy Veterans Day.
Every year we celebrate Veterans Day here on Mad Money by highlighting the companies that do the most to help our country's brave veterans. That's why tonight I want to welcome one veteran in particular, Alex Gorsky. He's the CEO of one of the world's largest healthcare company, Johnson & Johnson. Gorsky is a retired Army captain and graduate of West Point, and his company does an amazing amount to help our troops, supporting nonprofits like American Corporate Partners, which helps vets with their careers, and the Travis Manion Foundation, which provides assistance to veterans and families of the fallen. Plus, J&J is the official healthcare partner of the USO. So let's check in with Alex Gorsky, the terrific chairman and CEO of Johnson & Johnson, hear more about the amazing work that he is doing for his company and for veteran community. And of course, I also want to know how he feels about what's happening in America today. Mr. Gorsky, welcome back to Mad Money.
Jim.
Good to see you, Alex. Have a seat. Thank you. Your company is deeply committed and hires veterans throughout the organization. You've got a vast, vast company. Where have veterans helped you?
Well, Jim, they've helped us in so many ways. If we look at the employees, for example, in the United States of Johnson & Johnson, we have about 45,000. Over 5% of them are veterans. And look, they're veterans like Maureen Allison, who's right out in the audience today. I'd like to recognize in the very first class of women cadets, 1980, served her country, then got out, went in the FBI, worked her career up. Now she runs cybersecurity for Johnson & Johnson. So it's a great example. That's why let's give Maureen a hand. So whether you look at a woman like her running our cybersecurity, the head of our pharmaceutical supply chain, Courtney Billington, another example. So they touch all aspects of our business. And frankly, we couldn't do what we do without the great leadership, the great work of veterans.
And how do you find the veterans, and how do they find you?
Well, it works both ways.
Okay.
I mean, one is you got to be constantly on the hunt. And the thing is, there's right now, there's several million veterans who are either just getting out or have just gotten out of the service. Many of them are out there looking. They've got great leadership skills, great problem-solving skills. So one of the things we do is we make it a priority in our recruiting. That's number one. Number two, you got to make sure that your people are trained and developed to make sure they understand the backgrounds that they've had in the military.
Okay.
Sometimes it just gets lost in translation, making sure that you can translate what they did in the military to what they could actually do in the business situation. And then it's about making sure that you have a really welcoming environment. So once they get into the company, that they can be successful, they get mentored, they get a lot of coaching, and then we find they just take off. And they really end up doing some great things.
Worldwide organization, the armed forces, dovetails well?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it starts really with character.
Okay.
With things like integrity, the things they learn at the military academy, duty, honor, country, the honor code. It's hard work, it's problem solving, it's critical thinking, it's leadership. All those things, that's what we need more of in business, as you know.
Now, I don't want to single out you do so much Triumph Games, American USO, but the Travis Manion Foundation you've introduced me to, and I want other people to know what this is. I just want you to talk about it.
Well, Jim, thank you very much. Yeah, the Travis Manion Foundation is something that's really near and dear to my heart. And it really started with an acquaintance that we had, a fellow person that worked at Johnson & Johnson, Colonel Tom Manion, and his wife, Janet, and their son, Lieutenant Travis Manion, a graduate of the United States Naval Academy, ended up being tragically killed in Iraq. And when Travis came back, Janet and Tom were absolutely committed to make sure that we could use this terrible event as a way to inspire others. And so what was created was the Travis Manion Foundation. And it's a foundation that my wife and I are both actively engaged in. And Ryan Manion, Travis's sister, is now in a leadership role. And it really helps families, it helps service members get their feet back on the ground. It's got a wonderful program called Character Does Matter, where we coach people to go out to schools, to high schools, to make sure that people don't forget the incredible commitment and sacrifice that so many of these veterans have put on the line, and it's been a tremendous success, and it's a great way to keep the spirit of Travis Manion alive.
I'm going to talk about spirit for a second because you put out an announcement, and I hadn't seen this other than on a coin, E pluribus unum. You mentioned it. I want you to talk about it because I like what you had to say.
Well, I just felt there's so much going on in the world, obviously, in our country the past few days, and people are thinking, and I think being here today, right before Veterans Day, it's a great example of the importance of how we all come together as a country. And all the common values that we share, what we stand for, and making sure that we think of when we come together, we're much stronger together than we are as one. And making sure that we keep that alive, and I wanted to keep that spirit certainly alive in our company at Johnson & Johnson, but I think it's a very important message for everyone in the United States.
I want to talk about the role of Johnson & Johnson. I'm from Philadelphia, as you know.
Go Bucks County,
yes,
fellow Bucks County guy.
Myself,
right.
Absolutely. Live in Jersey.
Yeah.
Always felt that Johnson & Johnson, force of good, hires lots of people, does great things around the world, invents, discovers things. Sometimes pharma gets vilified. Hillary Clinton was, at times, I think, somewhat critical. So was President-elect Trump. What do you have to say to the politicians about the good side of pharma?
Well, look, we understand it's been a very political season. There's been a lot going on. Healthcare, is, and it should be, an important part of the debate. When you think about it, what's more important, what is more personal than good healthcare? At some point in our lives, it's going to touch all of us. It's 18% of our GDP. And regardless of which side of the political spectrum you fall on, all of us are going to have to work together in the coming years to come up with better solutions around healthcare. We talk about pharmaceuticals. Look, if we look back over the past 75 years, one of the reasons that life expectancy has increased so dramatically from the mid-50s to now your late 70s is because, we can stop infection. We can stop so many diseases, and cardiovascular disease, other areas. Much of that is due to pharmaceuticals. And so, look, it's our responsibility, it's our obligation to continue to innovate, to bring new therapies. We got to find a cure for Alzheimer's. Right. We got to find a cure for hepatitis C, for post-traumatic stress disorder, for traumatic brain injury. And that's what really motivates our scientists and all of our employees every day, is to bring great new treatments, great new therapies out there. But frankly, we've also got to do a better job of explaining what we're doing.
Right, that's true. Now,
and we've got to behave responsibly as well.
Right, because there were some bad actors.
Absolutely.
In the few seconds remaining, you're an alumnus. What do you have to say to our great men and women who are right now at the Academy?
Well, I could just not be more proud of the men and women out there in the audience right now. They really represent so much of what is great about our country. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for what you do each and every day, and you've got an exciting future ahead. Go Army.
Thank you to Alex Gorsky, Chairman CEO of Johnson & Johnson.
Thanks, everybody.
Mad Money's back there from break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.